Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the Brunch Ladies. Today we have some special guests and we are going to be chatting about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and the Student Visionaries of the Year. So let me welcome our guests. Hi, Maggie is the one, Maggie Jones here is the one that spearheaded this whole effort, and we will do our third quarter every year with Conshy Connects. We will do a live sale and talk with Maggie, hopefully she's the one that we work with every year, and it just gets bigger and better, and we do all these things. But first, I'm going to read Maggie's bio because it is awesome. All right. Maggie is currently completing her final year of pharmacy school at the Philadelphia College of Pharmacy. She has been involved with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Student Visionaries of the Year campaign for the past 2 years. She serves as a mentor, co-chair, and now the chair of the Greater Philadelphia chapter. They recruit high school students to raise money towards blood cancer research, patient care, and advocacy. Maggie has had the pleasure of using her leadership skills to mentor and work with these talented, driven high school students over the years. She hopes to continue to help support the students' efforts through partnership with Conshy Consignment by providing match funds to help students reach their fundraising goals, and we can collectively contribute to the blood cancer research and patient resources. As a future healthcare provider and someone who has and had loved ones affected by blood cancer, Maggie has been compelled to put her passion into such a worthy organization. Awesome. Thank you for everything you do, Maggie. That is absolutely just mind blowing. All right. Anything you want to add? And then we'll introduce Bethany.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate
Sure.
it. Looking forward to what we can do this Thursday, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
On our live sale to raise some money for this great cause.
Awesome. All right. And Bethany, tell us about yourself, where you fit in. I think you're in charge of a lot of this, right?
Yeah, so I am the campaign development manager for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, specifically working on our Student Visionaries of the Year program here in Greater Philadelphia. So I have the great fortune of working closely with Maggie and with a number of high school students, their parents, and their families in the Greater Philadelphia area who raise money for 7 weeks, all in support of LLS's mission. So happy to be here to really special organization with great people, again, like Maggie, and with so many students, parents, families in the Greater Philadelphia area.
All right. Wow. So, all right. So, we're going to talk about how we're doing the fundraising a little bit later. But what really, if you are or a loved one is struggling with a blood cancer, different resources they provide and the amazing work they do. But first, I want to know your whys. How did you get involved in this? And what exactly is the Student Visionaries of the Year?
So I got involved actually through an alum of the Philadelphia College of Pharmacy. He works in the hematology oncology space and was working as the chair of this campaign at the time, and reached out to see if he could have some mentors, particularly young mentors, to work with these high school students. And so I signed up because I had a grandmother who I never got to meet. She passed away from lymphoma. And then one of my dearest friends, her father has leukemia and is managing that chronic disease to this day. And he's kind of like a second father to me. So I do it a lot for him. And then also as a future pharmacist, hematology oncology is a complicated and scary place. And so I really wanted to kind of delve into it and make sure I have the best knowledge and resources possible to help my future patients. So that's how I got into it. And then as what the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society Student Visionaries of the Year campaign is, or also known as LLS Savoy, as you can see here. So LLS has a bunch of different campaigns. You might have seen them online. And so you might have seen Big Climb. You can see some ads on Facebook to get involved. If you run a couple miles each day, then you raise money for that. So Student Visionaries of the Year is just one of those things. And all of that money goes to the same place. It all goes to LLS. It all supports our 3 mission pillars, which is research, patient education and support, and then advocacy. So all the money goes to the same place. But in this particular campaign, we have high school students, so grades like 9 through 12. They all can sign up to be a Student Visionary of the Year candidate. So they all run to create a team of however many people they would like, and use their platform and use their resources and their connections to then, basically raise as much money as possible. We've had upwards of over $150,000 for one candidate, usually at least each year, to raise this money. And so it has just been fantastic and incredible to see what these people can do. So props to those students. And then what my role here is to basically recruit students as well as leadership committee members, also known as the LC, to help promote that campaign. And as you mentioned in my bio, the leadership committee helps raise funds to match our candidates' donations in the spring of next year. So whatever we raise, we can offer a X dollar amount to match whatever they raise as an incentive for these students.
That is incredible. So motivation for these students, like, has there been any, and I know there has been any like personal touching stories that, things that have come out of this organization or lives that have been touched that you didn't really anticipate?
Yeah, so I was privileged enough for LLS to send, have Bethany and I go out to Chicago just a couple months ago and meet with leadership committee chairs from all across the country of all Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, Student Visionaries of the Year campaign chairs, and staff members. And through there, we got to hear some stories from over, and one of them was particularly touching. There's this little girl, she might be a little like 5 or 6 now, but she's still battling leukemia. And so we have this thing called an honored hero. So every LLS Savoy chapter has an honored hero for that campaign year. And so this little girl has just been a complete blessing and continued to fight leukemia, but she has such a great spirit. And so she dances and sings a little song every time she goes in before chemo. And so the videos were just incredible, and maybe kind of need a Kleenex next to you. Yeah. So she's certainly an inspiring story. And then particularly in our past year, we had an honored hero who local to Philadelphia. He actually graduated from Temple University's, and he became a pharmacist, and now he's going to residency to be a hematology and oncology specialist in pharmacy. And so he battled leukemia throughout his schooling, which was crazy enough to go through a graduate program, let alone try and battle leukemia. And so he actually ended up writing a book and serving on our leadership committee. So he's just one of our perfect examples of kind of like giving back and continuing with the missions, from being an honored hero and using LLS's resources. So LLS does provide 24/7 resources to our patients. So if you need to give a call to their hotline, they give you education resources, programs, and support for the patients, and as well as their families. And so to have him be an honored hero, beat leukemia, he has been in remission since. So really fantastic to hear that our mission and our research and the drugs that go into the research have really proven to be helpful. And then go on to work on our leadership committee, helping mentor those students and helping raise money. And then to writing this book. So it's called 4 Walls. And so it's breaking down life challenges one wall at a time, a memoir of battling cancer. So here's Ryan. Ryan Scanlon was our honored hero. And just a lovely story to kind of bring it all together, from the patient side of it to giving back on that leadership committee, and then now becoming a pharmacist in hematology oncology, one of our real, really great success stories, and happy to still be in touch with him to this day.
Yes. Oh, wow. I'm so happy that's an amazing example. And I just love to be able to hear those stories and pass them along. So thank you for doing that. Bethany, I have a question, because you said you had some statistics. Like, all right, so from the outside kind of looking in, it seems like blood cancers, leukemia, are kind of non-discriminatory in the age range. Like, we see a lot of really young people affected, and I don't know if those are the stories we hear, or whether that is, I don't want to say stories, that is not the right term, but the tales of these, heroes that are battling this. What are some of the stats on that? Because I was thinking, like, the high school, there's probably a lot of high school students that have been affected, that have had classmates affected because of the, it's non-discriminatory in age. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I will be honest, I don't have the breakdown of specifically
That's fine.
this amount of students or this amount of people, but
Right.
every 3 minutes, someone in the United States, a child, an adult, all age ranges, everyone, every 3 minutes, someone in the United States is diagnosed with a blood cancer. And we actually have more than 1.5 million people that are either currently living with or are in remission from a blood cancer. So to your point, it is across so many different people, age ranges. Someone probably either has had blood cancer or knows someone who has had blood cancer. And to your point about kids, leukemia is actually the number one most diagnosed form of childhood cancer. So it is something we hear a lot about. It is something that touches so many people, so many families, and so many lives.
Wow. Yeah. So I was looking a little bit, and so if somebody is newly diagnosed, I'm thinking, like, all right, they go to the doctor, they get hopefully the LLS resources, because they seem to be, but it sounded like there was a hotline to call. And can you talk a little bit about that? If somebody in their family, you probably want to encourage them to get in touch with LLS and get some support.
Yes. So we have something at LLS called the Information Resource Center, and it is a phone number that anyone who is newly diagnosed, has been diagnosed, has a question about their diagnosis can call. And it is a team of wonderful people who work on staff at LLS who answer those phones and direct them to LLS resources. But also, if someone has a cancer and it's not a blood cancer and they just don't know where to go, but they know about LLS, they can also call the Information Resource Center from there, and they can direct them to certain things that they need. So whether that is helping them get an appointment, or sometimes it is working with our nutrition consultants that we have on staff at LLS, they just provide you with the resources that you would need as you are going through your diagnosis. They also can help connect you through our First Connections program with someone who has had blood cancer, who has been through this, and it's just someone that they try to match you up with who's kind of similar to you, and they are basically your buddy for the duration. And even I have heard of stories of people that far along past the time they've been diagnosed are connected and stay friends and stay close. And again, it's just a buddy who you can talk to, who's been through this, who understands, and who can make you feel like you're not alone in your fight against blood cancer.
Wow. Oh, I did not realize that. I think that's amazing. They say, like, research shows that just having somebody and support to talk to is one of the most healing things along that journey. So, wow. The other thing I came across, and I didn't know this either, on the podcast, The Bloodline with LLS, and the reviews on that, of how helpful that is in providing that support. So I had no idea there was a podcast. Are you involved at all with that, or do you know anything about it?
So I am not directly involved. That is something that is run by our mission team, but I know that they like to your point, what they are trying to do in that podcast is to just get information out there and connect people with LLS and their resources and information. And so, you know, again, if you're diagnosed with a blood cancer or you know someone who's diagnosed with a blood cancer, it is a very stressful, intense time. And so I think it is just a way that LLS is trying to support our patients in a simple, easy way, that it is there and available for them whenever they need it. They can look up episodes from the past, they can look up current episodes, and it's just a way, again, to continue to support one of our mission pillars of patient education and support, and making sure our patients and their families and our volunteers have access and the support they need when going through a diagnosis.
Okay, so amazing. Bethany, what is your why? How did you get involved with the Student Visionaries, and what is your vision, and what's your why?
So mine is kind of a long and winding story. I was actually an elementary school teacher for a number of years, and I did my time in the classroom. I knew I was ready for something else, and I pivoted to working in fundraising at a children's hospital. And while I was there, I was working with college students and high school students, but also doing lots of other things at the same time. And I was consistently, when I was a teacher and also working at the children's hospital, blown away by the amount of stories and connections that children's health has on people. And I just got to see firsthand how families and lives are changed based on health and outcomes for my students or patients I was working with at the hospital. So while I was there, I just kept saying, I wish there was a job that existed where I could work with students full time to fundraise for a worthy and important cause. And what do you know? I was on LinkedIn one day and I saw the Student Visionaries of the Year program at LLS. And it just seemed like all of those wishes came true about wanting to work with students to fundraise. And really, for me, when I work with high school students, I have long said that I believe high school students are going to change the world because they are just bold and optimistic and don't think through as many things as we do as adults, of people that are like, oh, but what about this? Or what about this? They're like, I'm just going to go out there and do it. Try and stop me. So that is what brought me to Student Visionaries. And I really do love working with high school students and getting to see their unbridled passion, motivation, all of it.
Awesome. Wow. I love it. And I love that take on high school students, right? Sometimes they get a bad rap, but I don't really know any bad ones. You know, they're out there and they are so full of passion. So I'm going to put some of the comments up here. Donna, so proud of you, Maggie. Such a powerful and dedicated professional. Yes. Kristen, this is wonderful. Hi, Maggie. Charlotte, go, Maggie. All right. Arlene, Mom found all the notebooks she kept with Dad's numbers this weekend. Love that you were all doing this. So Tom Sesko, he was, when we had the storefront, they were our customers. And in the process of him being diagnosed and going through that journey, we had done fundraisers. We had did one of these Conshy Connects events to help support. And so now it's coming around, and they're able to support this and the mission of LLS, how LLS had supported them. So that's pretty amazing. Maggie, your hard work and dedication is amazing. Keep up the amazing work. All right. And I am asking, I have a Mary here in the waiting room here in the green room. Should I add her in?
Yes, Mary is one of our incredible volunteers in the region, and I'm really excited for you all to hear from her.
Oh my gosh. All right. Thank you. I needed to kind of see who that was before I just added somebody to the stream. So sorry, Mary. All right. Just needed to make sure it was like legit, because occasionally we get something strange going on here. All right. Welcome, Mary.
You're quite welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
I'm happy to. So my thumbnail story of how I'm connected to LLS, they asked me to identify myself, and I put down I'm an LLS widow because my husband, Jim, this was like 13 years ago. He was like the healthiest guy around. He was a chemist. He was in charge of making sure the lab was clean and healthy, and he's very passionate about taking care of himself. So when he got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, we're like, oh, people get, like I had already faced cancer 2 other times in my family. And we're like, oh, this one's curable. But what happened for Jim, and speaking of young people, our Colleen was just getting out of college. Maggie was 22. John was 3 years older than that. They're like, oh, we're calling this double hit. There's a type of lymphoma called double hit, and they didn't know what to do with it. So he fought the good fight. It was a 13-month battle. It was horrifying to think that this vibrant man, we were going to lose him. So after Jim passed, which was in January of 2012, a friend of mine said to me when he was sick back in the fall, she said, I walked with Light the Night, and I walked for Jim. So the next year, I'm like, well, I can walk with Light the Night, which is a beautiful, beautiful event in October. One thing led to another. And as I did my Light the Night, I did some fundraising, and they're like, Mary, you're fundraising for LLS. We really, really appreciate it. So I fundraise in memory. When it came to my turn to fundraise, when I heard that if you raise $50,000, they will donate, they will put your husband's name, in my case, your husband's name on the money to go to doctors. And I said, I need doctors to work on double hit lymphoma. And one of the greatest joys I have now, so many years later, is that I meet people that got the cure. I really feel like the money I raised saved other families. The heartache, the heartache is part of who I am, makes me stronger. I talk to Jim all the time. I told him his daughter Maggie wants to have a baby, and he's closer to God than I am. So please do what you can. But to know that I'm meeting people that are surviving double hit. And I know that our doctors at LLS are the best. I met Dr. June way back when he first discovered CAR T. Like if you see, what is it, the malignant, there was like a PBS series about curing cancer. And our Dr. Carl June at Penn was the doctor that was featured. And it was such a new success when Jim passed. I shook his hand and I said, Dr. June, what about double hit? He said, every cancer. I will work on every cancer. And the CAR T therapy that we have developed through LLS, I fundraised. That CAR T therapy is helping people with other diseases. So it's like, we're not just blood cancer anymore. So I was able to raise enough money, over $100,000. We had 2 research projects funded in Jim's name. There are people surviving. And Jim was a scientist. I'm a mouthy person. Now I do advocacy and I talk to legislators. And you know who our next voters are? They're seniors in high school. They're going to college. So you raise the money, it helps real people. It helps other families. But to say to high school students, get involved now, because blood cancer is not blue or red. It's people. It's all people are touched. And to learn about what we can do, that's where I've taken my passion. So I started with Late the Night. I went to what at that time was, instead of Visionaries, it was Woman of the Year. And I did succeed in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia. And now I'm doing advocacy. And I think go out there and fundraise. And if people don't have a lot of money, we'd love to have them as advocates as well.
Wow. Yeah. That is just wow. Just wow. I mean, everything just, came full circle. And I love your point. Like, if people don't have money to, fundraise or contribute, there are so many other things that people can do other than just writing a check. Like, you can volunteer your time, you can advocate, you can, and I'm going to bring this back to the live sale we're doing, sponsoring this week is, you can donate items. You have things, sitting around the house. You can donate your items. We'll sell them and we'll put the money toward that. There are so many things you can do. You can tell a friend about LLS. You can, share a social media post. It's not all about the money. It's about getting the word out there and spreading the news. Yes, if you have money to donate, yes, I'm sure you guys really appreciate that as well. But don't feel, this is an all-inclusive thing. It doesn't have to be money. If you have something else to offer it. I'm sure it is just as important as the money that you raise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to answer any questions. Bethany knows I'm not shy.
All right. So somebody wants to get involved. What would be their first step? They were like, I want to be I want to be an advocate. I
Mhm.
want to, raise money. I know a high school student that would be really passionate about this. What's their first step?
So the first step is that we have a QR code. It's one of those things that people get nervous about changing their address. But when we're making an appeal to our legislators, LLS puts your address into the database and says, oh, you don't know who your rep is in Harrisburg or in Washington? Here is what we're talking about. We will send you a notice. Please sign your name to this letter that's going out to our legislators. And what I love is that one of our biggest projects this year, again, crosses well beyond blood cancer, is that we're talking about medical debt. That someone who's in medical debt should not get a bad rating because their debt is a result of being sick. If you're a consumer debt and you can't get a mortgage because you didn't pay your car payment or you didn't pay your credit card, you shouldn't punish people for having to struggle with medical debt. So that's a beautiful universal theme. And guess who knows about debt? It's the kids who are going to be going to school and managing what's going on. What are we doing? And I've got to be responsible if I choose to go on and pursue my career in school. But what if you're walloped with blood cancer, some other major illness? The other thing we're spending a lot of time on advocating for is research, because sadly, when I grew up, I always heard about kids having childhood blood cancer. Well, the adult blood cancers are trickling down to the teenagers and the 20-somethings. So we want to be thoughtful about preserving fertility. We want to be thoughtful about the research for the 20-somethings. So we're asking for legislation to support that research. But all you have to do is go to LLS and say you want to be an advocate, and there's a QR code. Now that you know me, you can just Google me, or, everybody in the world has my cell number. Just tell me, Mary, I want to become an advocate. I have to start following my LinkedIn better because I'm an old fart and I don't use LinkedIn enough. But you get a QR code and you start filling in the information and you get the news as to what we're advocating for. Who doesn't want to make medical debt a livable problem? Because if you survive cancer, you can't suffer the medical debt after years and years and years later.
So I'm going to put here, if they are going to go, the link is in the comments here. Will also be posted. It is also posted in the show notes here, wherever you're watching. But is that where they can go to sign up and be able to advocate?
Yes, I'm going to look and see what the
Okay.
one that's specifically for advocacy, LLS advocacy. I think it's just, another slash.
Right.
But
So
you
it's
go there-
it's a part of the website where they can advocate. Okay.
And what annoyed me is I'm like, what am I? Of course I'm advocating. I'm raising money. Of course I'm advocating. I'm going to light the night. But advocacy is the buzzword for getting involved in talking to your senators and your representatives.
Awesome. All right. So we know there are people out there that can definitely do that. So yes, awesome. All right, Maggie, for Student Visionaries of the Year, what would be, if somebody wants to get involved or they want to pass along the information? We also have your personal fundraising link in the show notes as well. But where would they go?
So if you know somebody in the community who's already running, you can talk to that candidate team. And so there's student visionary pockets all over the country, but for Greater Philadelphia, we go from Bucks County, Montco, Philadelphia. So essentially I would connect you with Bethany, who's our campaign manager. And then from there, she could do a nomination meeting and then you could see how to sign up through there. But if you want to find a Student Visionaries of the Year campaign near you, or see how to connect with Bethany, you can just go to llsstudentvisionaries.org, and it has all the information about the campaign. And a lot of it's actually through word of mouth from students talking to other students. Our leadership committee is comprised of both adult leadership committee members and then as well as our junior leadership committee members. And a lot of these junior LC members are either past candidates. Actually, I think all of ours this year and in past years have been either past candidates. We had our honored hero as well. And so they reach out to the next generation. So when they were a junior or senior running, they reach out to their sophomore and now junior friends to run as the campaign. And we call those legacy candidates. So essentially, it's the kind of thing that the cycle that just keeps on feeding. And we just kind of pass down through word of mouth who can come in next. So we can always have people come in. And the beauty of LLS is because it has so many different campaigns, you know, like as we saw with Mary's story, as when you first get involved, you can go from being, you know, a patient or a loved one of a patient to then getting involved in advocacy. For our students, we can go from being a Student Visionary of the Year. You can do what Mary did, which is version, so you get Visionary of the Year. And then even as students move into college, I started an LLS on my campus. It's called LLS on Campus. And you can start your own LLS club there to continue raising funds. So the journey really never ends to be involved with LLS. And I think that's the beauty of it. And you can get involved in all these campaigns. But yes, if you want to get involved in Student Visionaries, you just go to LLS studentvisionaries.org. And you can go ahead and find Bethany's information through there.
All right, and I will link that up. So Bethany, are you region specific? Because we have people, okay, you are region specific, but they will still be able to hook up on that website. Let's say, you know, my friend in Washington State is like, all right, we don't have anything like that around here. You know, my son is really interested in, you know, starting like something like this at his high school. Would that still be where they would go?
So they can definitely still go to that website that Maggie shared, and you can look up a different region. I will also say I am very well connected to all of the other managers across the country that help run this program. And so if there is someone listening, it's like, I really want to be involved, but I'm not from Greater Philadelphia, they can definitely still reach out to me and I can help direct them wherever they need to go.
Awesome. All right. Because we often get, we do this for the Friends of the Conshohocken Free Library, and it has been amazing. That is one of our things. And it has been amazing. Like we've had people from, you know, that's why I use Washington State as an example, like supporting and getting involved in our little Conshohocken library from like Washington State down to Florida. So that's why I'm bringing that up. It's not just the, you know, Philadelphia region. Yes, it is the majority of us, but there are people all across the country that sometimes want to get involved. So thank you for doing that. Yes.
Libby, you bring to mind, and again, this, like I've had cancer in my family. I've got a lot of possible places to put my donation hours, right? Hours are as valuable as money, but it starts with hours and passion. I'm privileged to be the chair for the Pennsylvania advocacy for the whole state, and we touch 3 regions: Western Pennsylvania, Northeast Pennsylvania, like so. And then I go on these state leader meetings. I have people all over the country now that can talk about advocacy, and every advocacy has a story, whether it's a visionary connection or just an experience, like the Connections program, our outreach to families. LLS has touched so many people. So don't be shy. And if you say, oh my gosh, I'm from Washington State, the woman from Washington State, I think of her story and her passion for her mother and her eloquence. And like, if you're in another state, there is someone from LLS in your state that will inspire you and encourage you. And you're going to talk to your teenage friends and say, I do something really important and it's helping people right now.
Yes. All right. So in summary, I really like it's sad that something like this brings us together, but it's also on the flip side of that, like using the pain, the struggle, all of this to connect all of these people and provide resources and just using that for the greater good. And you guys are just you are all living examples of how to do that and bring that together and take something that is really devastating and painful and so much suffering and create something absolutely amazing and helpful out of it that is working toward the greater good. So I am just so thankful for all of you and all of your dedication, and thank you for taking the time to come on here today and talk about it and spread the word. I will be forever grateful. This is my favorite part of the job, where there are so many people out there doing amazing things, and to be able to talk to them and highlight what they're doing and, maybe touch a couple lives in the process, or get a new volunteer, a new advocate, a new student, help somebody. So that is just awesome. All right. So how Conshy Consignment is supporting this is we're doing this and we're talking about this because this is the important part, guys. The sale that we're doing, the live sale, this is just something to support what these guys are doing. So this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, we are hosting a live sale where all of the proceeds go to Student Visionaries of the Year for LLS. This is our little graphic here. So it will be live on Facebook, Instagram, and ConshyConsignment.com. You do not need to shop it live. You can shop it up to 48 hours, where 100% of the proceeds are going toward LLS. And it's a lot of fun. You will have the opportunity to make donations. You can use Maggie's donation link that's in the show notes. You can donate during this because we'll have super cool prizes for donations, prizes for just showing up and spreading the word. We also do that because we think that is just important. Not everybody is in the position to make a donation, and that's fine. Showing up, spreading the word, that is just as valuable. We hope you are not personally affected by this disease, but I think most of us, or this cancer, I think most of us have been affected or know somebody or have had a family member affected, and it can be very devastating. But these people are out there on the ground doing the work to make sure this is not continuing to be such a devastating thing. All right. So if you want to support that, go ahead. I am going to mention that one of the things that we are doing is you can donate your items year round and be raising money for this. So you say, you know what, I have this this purse laying around, this super cool backpack that I want to, I want to do something with. I want the funds to go to good. You bring that to Conshy Consignment. You mail that to Conshy Consignment. We sell it. And proceeds go to LLS Student Visionaries of the Year. So you can do that all throughout the year. We are raising money. It is just those 48 hours where 100% of the proceeds go to that. There is a link on our website where you can shop all of the items that have been donated. That is something new we are doing. So you can go on, you can shop at any time now, and the money will go to LLS Student Visionaries of the Year. So did I get it, guys?
Got it. Absolutely.
All right. I'm so used to doing this. I don't know if what I'm saying is totally understandable. So you understand what you need to do, where you need to go, how it's going to happen.
Is it 24 hours before and after? You said 48 hours?
So at 7 p.m., we will drop things at crazy low prices. And it will be 48 hours from 7 p.m. on that. And we'll also have the donation opportunities. The prizes will be all during the live sale. We will know who won. We have a fun little wheel we'll spin. You guys will see that. And yeah. So that was a good question. Thank you. See, I wasn't even thinking about that. So it's this Thursday, September 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern, and 48 hours after that event, 100% of the proceeds for the items we are showing in the live sale and all of the items that have been donated, whether or not they get shown in the live sale, will be on our website, and they will go 100% to your cause. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. We nailed it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
you being here with us and taking the time out of your morning, but more importantly, for the amazing work you are doing. And thank you. All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you, Livy. Appreciate it so much for allowing us to be with you. And we so love the work that Conshy Consignment does. We love tuning in. And just remember that all the money, whatever path you go through LLS, it goes towards research, patient education and support, and that advocacy.
Doing all the good things. Yes, that's what we wanted to know. Thank you. All right, guys.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Livy.